Imagine for a moment that the Bible you know isn't the only version that exists. What if I told you there are 75 more books that were once part of the Bible but were removed for some reason? What happened to them? Who decided to take them out? And more importantly, what did these books contain that was so dangerous or controversial that they had to be banned? These books, as you'll see, weren't just old stories. They were texts that could have changed the way we understand the history of God, angels, and even humanity. One of these books, for example, talks about fallen angels who taught forbidden secrets to humanity, completely altering our understanding of morality, sin, and even the divine nature itself. How did these books disappear? Were they removed for religious reasons, political ones, or was there something even darker behind their removal? Let's explore what you were never told about the 75 lost books of the Bible. And at the end, I'll reveal a hidden secret from one of these books that could change the way you see God forever. Stick around, because what you're about to discover is mind-blowing. The Bible we know today, with its 66 books, wasn't formed overnight. It was put together over many centuries, with theological debates and even political disputes. Many don't know that. Until the 4th century, there was a wide variety of books and texts in circulation that were considered sacred by different Christian groups. It was only after intense debates and religious disputes that the canon we have today was finalized. The word canon comes from the Greek word canon, meaning rule or standard. The councils of Nicaea, 325 AD, and Trent, 1545 to 1563, were crucial in determining what should be considered part of the official Bible. But what about the other books? What happened to them? How did the Catholic, Orthodox, and Protestant churches decide which texts would be included in the canon and which would be excluded? And who exactly made these decisions? The answers may surprise you. During the Council of Nicaea in the 4th century, church leaders were more concerned with doctrinal uniformity than with preserving the full history of the Christian faith. What was decided there had profound implications for the future of the religion. At the same time, the Protestant Reformation, sparked by Martin Luther in the 16th century, brought even more changes to the canon, with Luther seeking to exclude books he considered doubtful or that didn't match the true message of Christ. And here's the big question: were these decisions to exclude certain books really spiritual, or were there darker reasons behind it? Did the church fear the power of these texts? If so, what was in them that could threaten the religious power structure or even the established view of God? Now, let's dive into what was actually in these lost books. One of the most intriguing is the Book of Enoch, which was widely read and accepted among Jews during the Second Temple period. This book tells the story of angels who descend to earth and teach humanity forbidden knowledge such as magic, weapon-making, and astrology. But what's even more shocking is that these angels, known as the Watchers, corrupt humanity, producing giants and hybrid beings known as the Nephilim. The Book of Enoch reveals a view of the universe far more complex and chaotic than the conventional Bible suggests. It expands on the Genesis narrative, giving more details about the sons of God who took human wives, producing a race of giants that disrupted the balance of earth. The story of the fallen angels disobeying God suggests that even celestial beings were involved in corrupting the world. And the Church, by excluding this book, may have feared that the idea of a corrupted divine creation could challenge the traditional view of a purely good world created by God. Another fascinating lost text is the Gospel of Thomas, a collection of 114 sayings of Jesus without the focus on the crucifixion or resurrection. Instead, this gospel presents a more philosophical Jesus, speaking about self-knowledge, the search for inner truth, and discovering the kingdom of God within ourselves. Many scholars believe the Gospel of Thomas presents a much more mystical and personal view of Christ, challenging the traditional narrative of salvation through his death and resurrection. Imagine how the history of Christianity would have changed if this gospel had been included in the Bible. The idea of salvation through personal enlightenment could have been more prevalent than the doctrine of Christ's atoning death. And what about the Book of Jubilees, also known as the Little Genesis? It retells the story of Genesis with more details, explaining events not found in the canonical text, like the creation of angels, the fall of Adam and Eve, and the origin of various ancient traditions. This book also presents a more apocalyptic view of human history, with a stronger focus on the battle between the forces of good and evil. If this book had been accepted into the canon, it would have altered our understanding of Genesis and creation, with additional details about God's plans for humanity. These books weren't just additional chapters, they contained ideas, teachings, and narratives that could have profoundly changed how we view religion, morality, and even the history of humanity. They were excluded not because they were uninteresting or irrelevant, but because their messages could have challenged the Church's established view. And to this day, scholars and theologians continue to study these texts, hoping to better understand the hidden truths they contain. And believe me, recent discoveries, like the Dead Sea Scrolls, are reigniting the discussion about what the Bible should really contain. These ancient texts shed new light on the history of Christianity and the books that may have been forgotten or erased for centuries. The questions that arise from these studies are complex. Were these books really excluded because they were wrong, or because they contained truths the Church didn't want the people to know? So, what do you think? Were these books removed because they didn't belong in the Bible? Or were they left out because their messages were simply too powerful for the Church to control? The fact is, regardless of the reason, these books continue to challenge our understanding of faith, history, and spirituality. They remind us that what we know today as the truth might just be part of a much bigger story waiting to be uncovered. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you heard of any of these books before? What do you think about the idea that the Bible we know today might be incomplete? Leave a comment below, share your thoughts, and if you want to learn more about any of these lost books, let me know. We can keep exploring these mysteries together. If you liked this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this content with someone who also needs to know the hidden history of the Bible. And if you're curious to learn even more about these lost texts and other faith mysteries, keep following the channel for more amazing videos.